Welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back to the channel, guys. Coming up for you today, we are going to be discussing, for me, the biggest disappointment, the biggest letdown of Ronald Koeman's time at the club as coach, because we're going to be discussing the one area of this team that I feel under his leadership, we are simply underperforming. All of that to come, but there are also going to be some positives towards the end and a way of looking forward. But first, we must discuss this. Because obviously, guys, we are coming off the back here of a very mediocre performance against Getafe at the Camp Nou on Sunday. And I do have to make it absolutely clear, this video here and this opinion is not based only on that game. It is something that we saw very much in yesterday's performance. But if anything, that only confirmed my fears. That only highlighted the problem. And it was an occurrence that we have seen plenty of times throughout Ronald Koeman's reign. Because let's discuss exactly what that is. Because in the balance of fairness, and I want to be very fair about this, because honestly, Ronald Koeman has not had it easy during his time at Barça. There have been very, very turbulent times, toxic times. Of course, he's very close to leaving the club as coach over the summer, and there have been plenty of obstacles to overcome during his time at the club. And so, when you look at the team, I think defence is an area that I think is a big concern in this team. I think it's one of our biggest weaknesses as a team, in all honesty, but I wouldn't actually lay all of the blame for that at Ronald Koeman's door, because obviously he has been quite limited either in what's been available with players being fit and healthy and available in the team. He's also not really been able to bring anyone in of real substance in that area. I'm sure he would have liked, and I'm sure we all would have liked, to bring in an established centre-back this summer, but obviously that has not been possible. I think up front, we've also had our struggles, and obviously now with the absence of Messi, it is going to be more and more difficult to score goals. But again, I wouldn't lay that all at Koeman's door. You've had somebody there like Antoine Griezmann who hasn't really been at his best in a Barcelona shirt. You've had Ansu Fati and Sergio Aguero injured. So again, there's only so much that Ronald Koeman can do, which is why, for me, the biggest failure of Koeman and the biggest problem with Ronald Koeman's team at Barça, it's the midfield. That is the one area of this team that under his leadership, it's just not good enough. It is not as good as it should be with the players that we have at our disposal. We are not doing that midfield justice. Because let's first of all take the game against Getafe as an example. You can look there at the stats, and the stats will say that Barça had more of the ball in that game, and it was exactly the same against Athletic Club the game before that. But in reality, it was a 50-50 game. In reality, it was end-to-end stuff. Getafe were very much in that game. Athletic Club were very much in that game. At any moment, they were on top. They were in control. And it almost felt, certainly yesterday at the Camp Nou, as though Getafe were equal to this Barcelona side. Now look, I know we've lost Messi. I know that certainly that's a blow that we're really struggling to actually recover from. But still, Getafe being your equals, it's not acceptable, especially when you look at that midfield. And honestly, it was actually over the summer where my fears over that midfield underperforming were really confirmed. Because many people will say, well, Sergio Busquets is coming towards the end of his career. He's not what he once was. He's not a good player. Maybe he shouldn't even be in the starting lineup. Then you got Pedri. Some people say that in the Barcelona shirt, Pedri is overrated. Maybe he's not as talented as some people want to believe that he is. But you look at the Euros in the summer, playing for Spain, Busquets and Pedri individually and collectively were outstanding. They were some of the players there of the entire championships. They were brilliant and integral in Spain's run there to the semi-finals. They only went out on penalties to the eventual champions, Italy. Luis Enrique had them playing absolutely wonderfully in that midfield. Spain dominated everyone they came up against. Didn't matter whether they were against Italy, didn't matter there who they were up against in midfield. Busquets and Pedri were massive in that midfield. They dominated every single minute. And then with those two shining in that way, showing their quality, and we have seen it, you look at those performances and you simply can't deny it. Then you add De Jong. You add De Jong then to that list, who again was brilliant for the Netherlands over the summer. Every single time I watch him in that team, he's doing everything. And you just think that those three together, they should be unplayable. And it shouldn't matter who you're up against. I'm not saying here that we should be dominating the smaller teams, that against the smaller teams we should be on top in the game. Against anyone, that midfield should be right up there. Busquets, Pedri, De Jong, individually, in theory, it should be an absolutely world-beating midfield. But we don't dominate teams. You never feel as though Barca are really suffocating opponents. You never really feel as though Barca are imposing themselves on matches, and it just feels to me like with the players that we have, the quality of those players, Ronald Koeman is not using that midfield to its full potential. And even yesterday you could say, well, look, Pedri wasn't available. But what does Koeman do then? He brings in Sergi Roberto. Sergi Roberto into a midfield where you want to try and get on top in the game. Now, yes, you can say that Roberto scored a goal. But after that one moment, which was 2 minutes into the game, what else did he bring to that midfield? What else did he bring to the game? He continues to banish and completely leave aside Ricky Puig. And Koeman even said it himself after the game there. He brought on Gavi. He brought Nico Gonzalez on in the latter stages of the match. And Koeman even said that we were better. We were structurally much more secure. Positionally, we were much better in our play. We were able to keep the ball for much longer periods. It's right there in front of you. You can clearly see it too. But why do you not act on it then? Yes, players like Gavi, like Nico Gonzalez, they can bring so much to this team. But it's almost like from Koeman's side of things, he doesn't want the ball. He doesn't want to be on top in games. He doesn't want to dominate in that area. And as a Barca fan, with what we've seen over the years, I just can't get my head around that. Because you look at that area, De Jong, Busquets, Pedri, Ricky, Gavi, Nico Gonzalez, those are excellent and terrifically talented midfield players. There is no excuse whatsoever that you don't impose yourself on games, and it's just a shame, because you look at our next game, coming there against Bayern Munich, and we are all probably going into that game thinking, you know what, Bayern are going to absolutely wipe the floor with us. In every area of the field, they're going to be better, and we are going to be in real trouble, because that's what this team, that's what this coach has led us to believe. But you look at the players that we have. Should it be that way? In every area? In midfield? Should we be getting overrun in these kind of games? We are not doing enough. And there is so much more, I feel, that you can get from that area. However, what I do want to say at the end of this video is, number one, right now, we're joint top of the league. I want to give you guys some positivity from somewhere. There is so much negativity right now going around, and it is difficult to stay on top and actually look forward and try to believe that good things are coming. But as you can see here from the league table, Barca are right up there. Atletico yesterday dropped points against Villarreal. They were very, very lucky, actually, to draw that game. They should have lost it. It was a comical own goal in the last moments of the game that actually gave them the point. But as you can see, Real, Sevilla, Valencia, Barca, Atletico and Mallorca there, all sharing around 7 points. And look, at the end of the day, it is going to take time. We are coming off the back here of a very long summer. I'm talking about every team here, not just Barca. I'm talking about every team there that had players at the Euros, that had players at the Olympics. There was a very long congested last season. It is going to take time here for teams to get to the very, very best level. Even yesterday, I know many of us are watching Paris Saint-Germain. We were looking out there for Lionel Messi's debut. PSG, everybody's talking about the team they've got, the quality they have, the signings they've made, how they're going to walk their way to the Champions League. They were dreadful yesterday. Yes, they won the game, but so did we against Getafe, and we were equally as bad. Teams right now, they're not quite firing. It is going to take time to get going, and this Barca team, I believe that it can grow. I believe that it can improve. I think certainly there is more that we can get from this team, but I am looking at Koeman. I am wanting more. I do have questions about him, and now he has to answer them. He has to prove to us that he has learned from previous games. You look at his quotes, like I say, he's seeing it too. But can he act on it? Can he put those mistakes right? We're about to find out. Because like I say, next up, it's Bayern. So please, guys, do leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm very, very interested to see if you maybe share this opinion on the midfield. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think there's other areas that Barca should be focusing on. But I just think there with the quality that we have, Busquets, De Jong, Pedri, we should do more. There is much, much more that you can get from that midfield. That can be the foundation of your entire team. But Koeman doesn't really seem to want to get that kind of level out of those guys. Let me know down below all of your opinions. I will, of course, see you soon. Thank you indeed for watching. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.